Oh, hello everyone. How are we doing today? I'm good. How about you? Today we are chatting about European football and the Champions League. A reminder that Celtic will be playing in the group stage of Europe's Premier Club competition next season. We don't need to worry about qualifiers like certain teams do. Here's an updated list of the teams who have booked their place in the Champions League group stage. Last night, Eintracht Frankfurt became the 24th side to qualify by winning the Europa League. They go into pot 1 and will be potential opponents for Celtic, along with Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain and Porto. Pot 2 has Chelsea, Barcelona, Juventus, Atletico, Sevilla and Leipzig. Liverpool, Man City and Ajax down at the bottom there will also be in one of the top 2 pots and potential opponents for Celtic. Pot 3's confirmed teams are Borussia Dortmund, Red Bull Salzburg, Shakhtar Donetsk, Napoli, Sporting Lisbon and Bayer Leverkusen, while the 2 Milan teams and Club Brugge's pot is still to be confirmed. Spurs or Arsenal will join pot 2 this weekend. Very much looks like it will be Spurs, while the runners-up in France, that's between Monaco and Marseille, will also join the party, as well as 6 qualifiers in the summer. And that takes us up to our magical number of 32. So the draw could be very interesting. You could end up in a group with Chelsea, Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund, for example. But equally, you could also get Frankfurt, Sevilla and Shakhtar. As always, the draw will be somewhere in between those 2 extremes. All joking aside, last night's result is actually good news for Celtic because it means that Eintracht Frankfurt are now potential opponents for us in the top spot. Had it been Rangers in there, they wouldn't have been potential opponents and we would therefore have had a larger chance of pulling a major team. Now that could still happen, but Frankfurt are potential opponents. And wouldn't that be a bit of a love-in if we ended up drawing Frankfurt in the Champions League? Now you may have noticed the dates on the right-hand side there when I put that graphic up. Due to the World Cup in November and December, the European group stages are all far more condensed next season. So the draw is on August the 25th. Match days will then follow in 2-week bursts. So match day 1 and 2 on September the 6th, 7th and September the 13th and 14th. Then a 3-week break. Match day 3 on October the 5th. Match day 4 the following week on the 11th and 12th. A 2-week break. Then match day 5, October the 25th, 26th. And then match day 6 a week later on November the 1st and 2nd. So 6 match days in the space of 8 weeks. It's going to be intense. It's going to be loud. It's going to be colourful. We are going to have an amazing couple of months dining at the top table of European football. And I can't wait for it. Let's do money now, because that's what I want to focus on for most of this video. We have touched on this in the past, a couple of times actually. However, now with recent developments and the fact that Celtic are actually guaranteed Champions League group stage football and a few other things means that we can take a proper look at it now and really have a very realistic gauge on how much Celtic can look to earn from the Champions League. As usual, we're relying on the legends at Swiss Ramble for this. Basically all of the information I'm about to say comes from them. I've taken a couple of their graphics as well. I will link their lengthy Twitter thread in the description so you can check that out. I would say this is the kind of one that you want to watch as well so you can see the graphics and what I'm saying can make slightly more sense. I have done a fair bit of digging into this and I have just tried to make this as simplistic as possible because I failed maths 2 years in a row at higher. And I always thought I was decent in maths, but clearly not good enough. I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but what I'm trying to say is that this should be easy for anyone to understand. The age-old trick of you should be able to do this after several pints, and given last night's result, you've probably had a few pints. Anyway, let's move on. The first graphic that you're seeing right there is the money Celtic have received from UEFA in the past decade. Champions League there is in green, Europa League is in red. It's not too difficult to see the difference the Champions League makes. The last time we made it to the Champions League, 2017-2018, Brendan Rodgers' second season. Let's take a look at the finances that we received that year and see how it will just differ for what we'll get next time around. These are in euro, by the way. We'll do all of this in euro, and then right at the end you'll get a translation into pounds. So €32.5 million is the total that we received from UEFA in season 2017-2018. That doesn't include things like ticket sales, merchandise sales. I guess they go up if you're in the Champions League. This is just money from UEFA, and that €32.5 million was made up in three parts. The first part was €12.7 million for participation. Every team received this. €16.1 million from the TV pool, and a lowly €3.6 million in prize money. You may remember we won just one of our group stage matches, so we didn't earn much prize money. We did earn money in the qualifiers as well, which is why it's 3.6 million. That system that UEFA had for dishing out their money back in 2017, 2018 has changed a little in the 5 years since. UEFA still gives participation money, prize money, TV money, but there's now a new coefficient payment as well. Here's how that has changed. The overall money UEFA gives out. The overall money has gone up slightly. That's obviously good news for Celtic. But the TV money there, which is in red, has been reduced pretty dramatically, which is not good news for Celtic. UEFA now puts more emphasis on performance, meaning that we have less guaranteed money going into the group stage, but more potential if we can maybe win 2, 3, I'm not going to go higher than 3 matches in the group stage next season. So let's just briefly tackle these 4 areas. I say briefly, we're probably going to spend ages on it. We have done this before on the channel, but as I say now, we have a better idea of exactly what's going on. So part 1, everyone, participation fee. This is nice and easy. All 32 group stage teams receive the same amount, and that amount is €15.6 million. So we're guaranteed that even if we lose every single game 10-0. Nice and easy, nice and simple start. Part 2 is coefficient fee. Again, this is relatively straightforward. UEFA ranks the 32 teams in the group stage in order, so 1, 2, 3, all the way down to 32 in terms of their 10-year coefficient. The top ranked team, which I think is maybe Real Madrid, I'm assuming it would be, given they've won it so often, they would get €36.4 million, with the bottom team earning just 1.1 million. So there's a huge disparity between those two. Obviously, we don't know exactly where Celtic would feature in that until every team is qualified for next season's tournament. We will be nearer the bottom than the top. That's hardly a great surprise. Had we been in it last year, we'd have received €9.1 million. So let's just assume that it's a similar kind of level, and we'd get 9.1 million in the year to come. Area 3 is TV pool. This is more complicated. Scottish clubs receive 10% of the overall British share. That's just the way it's always been. Obviously, if there's no Scottish teams in the tournament, the English clubs take the rest. If there are Scottish teams in it, which there will be at least one next season, then we get 10%. I'm assuming that's because Scotland's like 10% of the population of Britain, maybe even just slightly more, less than that. Last year, the UK TV money was a total of €68 million, meaning that we would get €6.8 million. Obviously, that would have to be shared with Rangers if they come through qualifying. Getting really complicated here, but it wouldn't have been had to be shared with them had they won the Europa League for some reason. But if they do come through qualifying, we'd have to share that 6.8 million, meaning 3.4 million for us. So 3.4 million for us if we have to share it with Rangers, 6.8 million if we don't. And that's the only part of our Champions League money that we would need to share with Rangers. The only money we would lose out on if they do make the group stage. So 6.8 million. Area 4, performance. Now each win in the group stage earns a further €2.8 million, with a draw netting €0.9 million. So a couple of wins, a couple of draws, and you're adding on nearly €8 million. And as much as Celtic, all these jokes about us going out 3 competitions and all that, if we get a favourable draw, I mean, a couple of wins at Celtic Park is achievable. And you're talking nearly 6 million just for 2 wins. There's a lot of money on offer in terms of prize money. As I said earlier, less guaranteed money, but more opportunities if you happen to be pretty good in the group stage. So that leaves us with our total money here, and there's quite a few caveats and stipulations. The top one participation, we're getting that. There's nothing is going to change there. €15.6 million banked. Coefficient payment, as we say, based on last season, we'd get 9.1 million. It could be less. I wouldn't expect it to be more, given that we had a relatively poor season this season in terms of, over the last 10 years. But we'll wait and see. TV money, as we've gone over, we'll call that 6.8 million. It'll be halved if Rangers join us. And performance, say we win one game and draw two. Bit of a kind of cautious prediction there. We'd be looking at €4.6 million. There is a COVID rebate. Rebate is a word I never expected to use on the channel, but here we are. That is said to be 3.4% of total earnings. So whatever we earn, we'll have to give back 3.4% to UEFA due to the pandemic. Don't understand it totally. I'm assuming it's because UEFA lost out on money and they're now having to pay it back. For our numbers we've got here, that's 1.2 million. So that would leave us with a total of €34.9 million, which is £29.5 million in the current exchange rate. So just shy of £30 million. That's not including ticket money at all. Now, ticket money, I think last time Celtic charged about £100 to season ticket holders. Obviously, that's adults. Concessions were maybe about the £70 mark. I think they charged non-season ticket holders a good bit more. It might even have been like £140, £150 for the 3 matches. So I reckon that could bring in anything between £5 and £9 million to the club on top of the 30 million we receive from UEFA. So you're talking anything from like 35 million to 40 million. There'll be other things as well, I'm sure, that'll bring in money that I've not even considered. But it's a lot of money. A lot of glamour. A lot of money. No qualifiers that can affect Ange's forward planning. Jackie yesterday in the channel reckoned that was absolutely huge. We've not had this for well over a decade. Does it mean we can get in players really early, bedded in? Could that help us at the start of the season in the league? Could it help us in the Champions League if players have been in the door 2 months rather than 2 weeks? I think it could be absolutely massive. And just no stress as well. Just knowing that we're in the group stage. We're in the draw now. We can already look forward to the draw. And how amazing is that? While we're on the Champions League, final thing I want to mention is that UEFA have finalised plans for what the competition will look like from 2024 onwards. And there have been a few changes to what I said about a month ago. At that stage, UEFA were wanting a 36-team single league. If you're not a fan of that, then bad news, because that's still happening. But the change is that rather than playing 10 matches, 5 home, 5 away, it's been brought down to 8 matches. So you're all in one league, you play 8 matches, 4 at home, 4 away, all against different teams. So that's what we're waiting on. The really controversial bit that had people tearing their hair out, where UEFA were seriously considering awarding places based on past performance and not the season before, like years and years before, they've been abandoned. The extra places will now be awarded to the 2 highest performing countries over the previous season. For example, I think if it was happening next season, they would go to the Netherlands and England. So they would get an additional place based on performances the previous season. Whether Scotland would ever be able to qualify for an additional place, I don't know. It's not going to affect Celtic anyway, because it'd be like for 5th or 6th in the league rather than top spot. So it's kind of irrelevant. The other 2 places that they're adding on are unchanged from the original plan. So I think one of them's like an additional place for the 5th ranked nation, which is at the moment France, and the other one is for an additional place in the Champions route, which again is unlikely to affect Celtic unless Scotland drops way off in the rankings again. The Europa League and the Conference League will also have the same 36-team format. The Europa League featuring 8 matches per team, like the Champions League. The Conference League, for some unknown reason, only 6 matches per team. So this is all coming in 2024. We've got next season, the year after, and then the year after that, this new system will come into play, and hopefully Celtic can really build up a bit of momentum over the next couple of seasons in the Champions League and domestically, and be in an amazing position for this new Champions League. It's very exciting, but for now, all we can do is look forward to Celtic being back in the Champions League next season. It's going to be amazing. And I guess that's the prize for actually winning a trophy.